Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is a trip down memory lane back to the 90s during my childhood. Grew up watching the Torkelsons on the Disney Channel. Today I'm having Millicent, the matriarch of the family, Connie Ray, and I'm so excited. Oh my God. I mean, she's also been in so many great movies like Idle Hands and Stuart Little and My Fellow Americans and so forth. And it's going to be pretty cool to have her on the show today. I mean, the Torkelsons was like the ideal Southern family. A lot of people don't realize that show was only on for a short time, and so was its spinoff, Almost Home, But it became such a cult phenomenon on Disney Channel that it's just amazing. It's just like things don't happen that often today in the business. So here is my interview with Connie Ray. Hi, Connie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am just great. Oh, thank you so much for taking the time today. This is quite an honor for me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. So, going back to the beginning, was acting something that was on your radar early on?
Well, honestly, I grew up on a farm in North Carolina, so I knew nothing about acting. Have you ever heard of 4-H Club?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's what farm kids, it's a little club that farm kids belong to, and, they have animals and do all this farm stuff. Well, 4-H Club had a talent show, and I was desperate to be in the talent show, but I didn't have any talent. So I talked my brother in, I wrote a play, and my brother and I performed the play, and we won.
Wow.
And we kept winning. We won county, we won district, we went to state, and we were in Raleigh, and I remember we were backstage waiting to go on, and this really tall guy came up to me, and I was 10 years old. Came up to me and said, "What can I get you?" And I looked up at him and said, "A spotlight." And when I walked on stage, a follow spot hit me, and you couldn't keep me down on the farm after that.
Wow. So it was just a play you wrote is what put you on that path.
Absolutely.
Wow. And how old were you again?
I was 10.
You were 10. So from then on, you did plays in school and community theater?
Right. I did plays in school, and then I went to college, and I was a dancer for a while, and then I destroyed my knees, so I concentrated on acting, and when I went to New York, it was so hard to break into acting in New York. I kept doing play readings and, helping people with plays, and I kept thinking, I think I can do this. I think I can write a play. And so I wrote myself a one-woman show, and I acted in it and produced it, and a lot of people came to see it, and an agent came up to me afterwards, after one performance, and offered to sign me, and I was so excited. I thought, as an actor, and she said, no, as a writer. I went, no, I want to be an actor, and she said, don't be stupid, you can write. And so that's how I became an actor and a writer.
Wow. I've always been curious about this because I've been doing stand-up comedy 13 years, and I want to put on a one-man show. I mean, is it a long process to do it?
Well, you just have to have courage, really. I mean, it's not a long process. You have to have courage, and you have to have some money. But one of the great things is you're in control. Because if it's a one-man show, it's your material, you're the actor, you need somebody to help you put it together like a director. And, you find the space and you invite the people. It's a great way to get notoriety and get people interested in what you do. It works for me.
Was it really stressful though? Like when you try to go around to like different playhouses and theaters to put it on and stuff?
Of course. I mean, it's terribly stressful, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's all me.
Did you study with any big names in New York?
I didn't. I went to college, and then I went to grad school for acting at Ohio University. And, you go into debt so much going to school, I thought, I'll be damned if I'm paying anybody else to teach me how to act. If I don't know how to do it by now, I don't know how to do it.
Wow. So you didn't go to the actor studio or anything like that? Then.
Nope. I paid my student loans. When I got my big sitcom, when I got that pilot and they paid me all that money, the first thing I did was pay off my student loans.
Nice. Yeah. Oh my God.
Felt wonderful.
Yeah. It sounds like you've been a self-starter your whole life.
Well, it's kind of the only way I could, because, I didn't go to Yale, I didn't go to Juilliard, I didn't go to Harvard. I went to, these podunk schools, and you come to the big city, and, it's really hard to get any kind of recognition or get anybody to pay attention to you. It was so frustrating. You kind of have to make your own work.
Mm-hmm. I know, and that was at a time when there was no internet, and, you had all these platforms, but, it was really hard to, get people to come see you because there was, no advanced word.
Right, little postcards. It was
Yeah. Maybe an ad in the paper,
Uh-huh.
Wow. So what year did you move to L.A.?
I moved to L.A. the first time, 1991.
Wow, so it was 91, so you were in New York for quite a while then.
Right. I was in New York. I was determined I was not going to leave New York until I was on Broadway. I had to have a Broadway show, and I got the Heidi Chronicles. And I wrote a musical that started at the McCarter and moved off Broadway and ran for 13 months off Broadway. And I quit. I wrote a part for myself, of course, in my musical, because why write them if you're not going to be in them?
Yeah.
And I quit my own musical to go out to California to make my, I was so tired of being poor. I'm so really tired of being poor.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. At least I'm creating my own content now. For a long time I didn't, but now I am and stuff.
Good.
Yeah. But according to IMDb, your first TV role was on an episode of Harry and the Hendersons.
It was, and you know who was on it with me?
Hilary Swank.
Who?
Hilary Swank.
Yes, her very first job. We did our first jobs together on TV.
Wow. And did you see a spark in her that would hint that she would win the Academy Award?
I saw a mother who was determined that kid was going to succeed. I mean, they were hungry and just, out there, they were working.
Wow. Oh, my God. That's amazing. Yeah.
I know.
Bruce Davison, I met him at a convention a couple of years ago. Very nice man.
Really nice guy.
Yeah. And also on that episode was Tim Rossovich, who died recently.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I can't remember who played the football player who was supposed to be my husband, but he was a real football player. He was a retired football player.
That was him.
That's him?
Yeah.
Well, the story he told me was so unbelievable. He said when he was a professional football player, they had bowls of drugs for them before games, like bowls of M&M's.
Yeah.
So they were drugged out of their minds. And he said they would just go out there and play like savages. And one time they were in a huddle, and one guy's little finger was just hanging by a piece of skin.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was so loaded, he just pulled his little finger off and threw it to the sideline.
Oh, my God.
I'll never forget that as long as I live.
Oh, my God. That's funny.
I know.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize, in those days, there was a lot of athletes that were as good as they were because they were on drugs.
I know. I was so naive. I'm like, oh, my God. But I'll never forget that story ever.
Yeah, and the sad part about it, too, there was millions of kids the world over worshiping these guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it also, too, Frank Bonner from WKRP directed that episode.
You did?
Yeah.
I was so new. I didn't know what I was just, delighted to have a job.
Wow, that's a great debut, I have to say.
Oh.
In terms of, working with, professionals and
Right.
talented people. I mean, that's a great debut.
That's true.
So how did you get so lucky into playing Millicent in the Torkelsons?
It was an unbelievable experience because, like you said, back then there were no fax machines. There were there was no internet, and I was out there for pilot season, and my agent called and said, you had to go to your agent's office and get the sides. So I got a call from my agent and said, come over here, pick up these sides, go over and audition for this part this afternoon. And I remember I picked up the sides, I went over, I sat in my car and worked on the sides, and went up and auditioned, and the casting director said, call your agent, you're going to go to network. And I said, oh, okay. So I called my agent, and back then they said when you went to network, you signed away 7 years of your life. They owned you for 7 years. So you had to make a contract for 7 years before you could go and test for a network. So, it was so bizarre to me. So I went, okay, I agreed to everything. So I drove over to NBC, and I sat with a bunch of really well-known actresses, and I went in, and before you could go in, you had to sign this contract for 7 years. And I went in and did my little audition and thought that was very interesting, and I got in the car and I drove home to Altadena where I was staying, and the little light was flashing on my answering machine, and I got it.
Wow.
I got it.
Wow, that doesn't happen very often. Wow, that doesn't happen very often anymore. Wow.
No, it was just a miracle. And it was, and I know I went to work the first day, absolutely terrified. And I walked onto the sound stage, and there were all these little people. And I thought, well, what is this? There are no midgets in this pilot. What is this? And it was a one camera show, and I had 5 kids, and the way we shot it, they would shoot the kids, and then they'd turn the camera on me, and a midget would come in and put a sign around his neck, and I would act with the midget.
Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing to me how this show lasted 33 episodes, because it became such a big cult phenomenon once it hit the Disney Channel.
Oh, I know. And Disney was so smart. They did not pay us a dime. That's the reason they showed it every afternoon, because they cut a deal not to pay us anything for putting it on Disney Channel.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, because I remember it was just on constantly.
Constantly. I was followed around by children for years. And now, I just came back from L.A. I did this new Disney Channel movie. They did a live-action version of this cartoon called Kim Possible.
Yeah.
And I was out there for the premiere. And Kim Possible is this huge cartoon for Disney. Now, as a live-action movie, it's going to be giant. And now, once again, I'm going to be followed around by little children.
Well, they all recognize you and they all love you. It's generational. What was it like working with the legendary William Schallert?
I loved him. He was just the nicest, most genuine guy, just a pro all along. That show was it was crazy because there were 5 kids. That means there were 5 mothers. So there was a lot of drama. But he was just steady and wonderful. I loved him.
Yeah. Oh my God. Nobody could play dumb like he could.
Right.
He was just so great. Yeah, he was just so great. His reactions to things, you know, and
The truth is, he was really, really smart.
yeah. Well, you have to be to play dumb.
I think you're right.
On Almost Home, you worked with Perry King. What was he like?
He's so devastatingly handsome. I mean, he's so good looking it hurts. Another a true professional guy. It was hard on me because I loved the Torkelsons the way it was,
Mm-hmm.
but in order for us to stay on the air because they put us against 60 Minutes, we were a critical success, but we couldn't get an audience because nobody would watch us because everybody watched 60 Minutes. So they revamped it. So it was hard on me because I liked it the way it was. But if I was going to share with anybody, he was the perfect person to share with.
Yeah, you know, he was in one of my favorite movies of the 80s, Class of 1984, and he's got a beard in that movie, which I don't like. I was like, I can't, I never could stand that beard he has in that movie. But yeah, he is a good-looking guy.
He is.
And also, you worked with Brittany Murphy, who passed away, unfortunately,
Yeah. Terrible.
and Jason Marsden.
Girl.
Mm-hmm. Jason Marsden, who was in like every sitcom in the 90s.
Yep. He's still kicking around.
Yeah.
I hear from him now and again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was on like Step by Step, Full House, Boy Meets World. I mean, he was on all the big ones. Do you have a favorite episode of the Torkelsons? Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite episode was when I played my own aunt.
I don't remember that one, but one I like, the one I liked is the one I'm trying to remember what it was about. It had to do with a TV director who directed an episode of Charles in Charge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember it because I haven't seen the show in so long, but I remember.
I don't remember that one either.
I remember liking that one. Yeah. I remember seeing you have small roles in movies like A Very Brady Sequel and Space Jam. It always boggles my mind when actors who are fairly well known do small roles in big movies where they play characters that don't have names but they have job descriptions in who they play.
Well, you can break into TV, but then breaking into movies, you got to start all over again. And A Very Brady Sequel, and I think Space Jam was my very first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And happy to have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a pretty good movie. I don't know if it's a good term to say it was ahead of its time. Maybe it was right at the right time, but it was pretty good movie.
I thought it was a really good movie, and Michael Jordan was from North Carolina, and I'm from North Carolina, and Warner Brothers built him his own basketball court on the lot, and he used to practice, and it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any interaction with Bill Murray?
No. Mm-mm.
That's a good thing. I've heard a lot of unfavorable stories about him.
Well, I can't remember who directed Space Jam because I blocked it out of my mind.
Joe Johnston.
Yeah, him. So that one little scene I shot, I didn't even audition for it. They just offered it to me, and because they had already shot it and they fired whoever had shot it before, whatever bimbo they hired before. But it was a huge baseball stadium, and it was full of extras, real extras. There was no such thing as CGI back then. And I sat there and did my lines, and he was on the home, the pitcher's mound with a megaphone yelling at me, and he kept telling me the most vulgar things to say. Kept changing my lines, having me say really, sexual innuendo and blah blah blah. And I kept, I'm an actor. I do what I'm told. So I did it, and I did it, and I did it. And then he finally said, okay, do it again and don't sound so stupid.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And, if I were any kind of person, I would have stood up and walked away, but I took it.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know what to do, when it's your first movie or something. Like this one actress that I'm friends with, she had a line in a movie back in the 80s that would not fly in today's society, that I laugh my ass off every time I hear it. And she's really embarrassed that she said it, and she hates it when people bring it up to her. It doesn't happen to her that often though, but yeah, that does happen,
It's hard.
Mm-hmm. You did have a name in My Fellow Americans.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, I got to be in bed with Jack Lemmon and
James Garner.
And James Garner. I got to do a bed scene with them. It was wonderful.
That movie is so hilarious. I love it when
It is so funny.
I love it when they're in the gay pride parade.
I loved everything about it. And when we did that bed scene, Jack Lemmon was the easiest crack up in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would roll over to do my lines, and he would start laughing, and I would think about everything. I would think about the worst things possible, so I would laugh too. It took forever to shoot that tiny scene because we kept cracking up.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole movie's great. There's a lot of great actors in there. There's Dan Aykroyd, Lauren Bacall, Wilford Brimley, Esther Raleigh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great cast.
It is.
And Peter Siegel directed. And I seen a lot of interviews he's done lately. He was promoting something he has out and stuff. You played Devon Sawa's mother in Idle Hands.
Yeah.
That was a funny movie.
That was a silly movie. The best part of that movie was Fred Willard and I are dead at the end, and so they made replicas of our body.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to make a replica of our body, of course, we had to do a head cast and a body cast.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was me. They made another me. And it was spooky to see me. It was me. And when the movie was over, I wanted them to give me to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, what's going to happen to me? And so I said, let me have me. And they said, no, you're too expensive. We're going to put you in storage. And I said, well, okay, I guess. But it made me feel very vulnerable that there was another me someplace in storage. And then, to add insult to injury, my husband comes to me one day and says, Connie, your nightgown that you wore in that movie is for sale on eBay. But what? That means I am someplace in storage naked.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, I tell people who haven't seen Idle Hands, I say it's a combination of like Beetlejuice and Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
That's something that's lacking in movies today. I mean, horror comedies and horror movies in general used to be a lot of fun. Now they're just too dark and serious.
I agree. There's no sense of humor whatsoever.
Yeah. It's a weird thing now and stuff.
I think it's because it's such dark times.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I hope it's only temporary.
I hope so too.
And then, of course, you played Aunt Tina in Stuart Little. Do you get recognized a lot from that movie?
My kids, yeah. That movie has such staying power. It has been such a moneymaker for me because people just keep watching it. But it's just little kids who watch it.
Mm-hmm. Was it a lot of fun to do?
It was really fun. Because I'd never done anything where you had to just watch a red dot and pretend it was a mouse.
It was a red dot?
Yeah, it was just a little red laser dot, and, that was the mouth.
Wow. I wonder if they'd had to do the same thing for, what's the movie? Ratatouille?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. All that CGI stuff that they do now, it's incredible.
I know, but thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So much safer.
Yeah, because back in the day, they shot everything on film, and it just took forever to do. People would make an epic movie for almost 6 months to a year, and now it's shot so quick now.
I know. This Kim Possible movie that I did this summer in Vancouver, I mean, one of the most thrilling things I've ever done in my life. The second to the last day of shooting, I stood in front of a green screen and ran like hell because the building was blowing up behind me and went flying up in the air and fell on the foam.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God, I can die now and be happy because I have run away from who doesn't want to run away from the exploding building and blow up in the air? It was great.
Wow, is that movie coming out soon?
It's on Disney Channel on Friday.
Oh, that's the one you were talking about before?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Nice. What's it called?
Kim Possible.
Kim Possible. Oh, Kim Possible, yeah. Isn't it like a series, and then you did a movie of it?
It was a cartoon, like I said. It was a cartoon, and now they've made a live-action movie of it.
Right, cartoon. That's right. So you mentioned before that you are a playwright. Have you written anything recently that is being put on Broadway?
No, the thing that I have going right now, I want to do a web series because short form is the big thing right now. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote a pilot. I got producers to produce it, and we shot it. It was chosen for the LA Film Festival, and I thought I was going to get somebody to buy it, but I have not been able to get anybody to buy it. So that's what I'm working on right now, is trying to get somebody to fund me so that I can make 12 episodes of this web series.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone attach to producing it?
Well, yeah, I've got producers, but they want me to we have to find the money because they don't want to. I mean, they funded the pilot, but they want to find money for, they want Netflix to buy it or somebody,
Amazon
to buy it.
Yeah, like Amazon.
Everything's hard.
Yeah. like Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or somebody.
Anybody, YouTube, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm, YouTube Red. They're doing pretty good. They got that Karate Kid reboot going on and stuff.
The problem with all these platforms is they're so boy oriented.
Yeah.
They really like male oriented stuff, and I am not male, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never understood boys clubs. I'm against them. I don't do the boys club thing. I include women in everything.
Well, I wish you ran the world then.
Yeah. How many plays have you written overall?
I've written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6.
6. Mm-hmm. And they've all been on Broadway?
No, my first play, Smoke on the Mountain, was a musical. It was not on Broadway. It was off Broadway. It ran off Broadway for 13 months, and it's still one of the most produced plays in America. And because it was so successful, I wrote 2 more, a sequel to it, and so I wrote 2 more musicals to go with it, which kind of keeps my income stream going. And then I wrote some other plays that have been done around in regional theaters.
Nice. How long have you been back in New York for?
I came back to New York. I was in LA for a really long time, and then I got this play next fall on Broadway, and my husband was working in New York, so it was just Broadway. Are you kidding me? It was so exciting. And so when we moved back to New York to do Hands on a Hard Body, and I thought, because Doug Wright had won a Pulitzer Prize, and he was so famous, that for sure Hands on a Hard Body was going to run and run and run, and that I was going to sit in New York with a job for a good 2 years. I was very wrong. We closed after 4 months. But we had moved to New York, and my husband had started a business here, and so I kind of had to stay here while he finishes up what he wants to do. And once he finishes his thing, I'm going to go back to California.
Mm-hmm. So you go back and forth then?
Yeah, I go back and forth.
Yeah. That's what I've been doing too, going back and forth from Bay Area to Redding over here to LA and stuff with all the stuff that I do. Yeah. I'm trying to move out to LA permanently though. It's really tough.
Good.
Yeah.
When are you going to do that?
I'm hoping in the middle of the year.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I've been trying to move out to LA for 18 years now, and life has gotten in the way. I've been on an incredible journey to this point and stuff. And
Did you think it's time?
yeah, it's been, after I had my car accident 4 years ago, I realized I had to pursue show business, full time instead of doing it as a hobby. Otherwise, everything could be over, so.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So
That's good thinking.
I've been on that trajectory ever since, and I'm just totally
You
blessed.
You have to be hard on yourself. You just have to.
Yes, lots of self-discipline
Mm-hmm.
it takes. Hey, Connie, I was curious, what's your secret to not aging? Because you look great.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. I think it's just the way I'm put together. I just have good genes, I didn't plump up, so I'm lucky that I'm tall and I'm skinny. And I don't know. I just, I have red hair, and red hair doesn't go gray, so that's good. So I don't know. I'm just lucky.
You sure are very lucky, Connie. And
Thank you.
yes, and of course, and I appreciate you taking the time today. And
You're welcome.
you are the very definition of Southern hospitality.
Oh, thank you. It was so nice to talk to you. Thanks for finding me.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm very lucky with all the people I have found. You're my 385th interview.
Woo, good job. Well, let me know when you move to LA. I'll be so excited for you, okay?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I add you as a friend on Facebook.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, you have a happy Valentine's Day and have a great...
Thank you.
Yes, and have a great day overall until it becomes night.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Well, there you have it. Connie Ray. Ain't she a sweetheart? Yes, you are a sweetheart, Connie. Like I said, you're the very definition of Southern hospitality and a sweet lady. And you're a true inspiration with all the work that you've done, a self-starter and all that stuff. And I thank you for your time. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes!